So take the old records off the shelf. We're gonna do some rock and roll today. So meet me in a comfortable cross-legged seat. You could sit half lotus, cross-legged, block under the bottom. Close your eyes. And begin to activate the Ujjayi pranayama. A slight restriction on the back of the throat. Inhale, exhale through the nose. So the style of rock and roll music came around in the 50s. And people really loved it because of the sex appeal of the performers. But it was a very simple chord structure. And it was all about self-expression, individual expression. And when we do the rock and roll postures in the Ashtanga primary series, it doesn't have to be so complicated. So today's practice, let's take it back a couple notches. Let's do it a couple times to figure out what the heck we're trying to do. And then opening the eyes if they're closed, let's lean back and right off the bat, just balance on your bottom. So lift your feet up, just balance on the bottom. You'll notice that the low belly starts to fire, right? Naturally, in order for those legs to lift. You'll notice that this is the base of Navasana, boat pose. And then releasing the knees down onto the floor, meet me in downward facing dog. Taking a few moments to stretch back through the sides. The other thing about those rock and roll shapes is they come at the end of practice when you might already be kind of exhausted. Pull your lower belly back, eyes forward, step walk, float to the top. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Stand tall, reach high, look up. Release the arms. Inhale, up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Step walk, fly back, lower. Drag your pelvis to your wrists, eyes up. Slide back, downward dog. Paw your hands back to your feet. Walk your feet the distance of your mat. 3 rounds of nollie. Crawl the hands up the knees. Take an inhale. Exhale. Clear the belly, lift it, lock it. Release the belly. Second round, big inhale. Exhale completely. Hold it, lift it, lock it. Release. One last time. Inhale. Exhale. Hold yourself empty, lift it, lock it. Release your belly, flip your toes, down dog. So Nali Kriya is a really important element of the rock and rolls. It's how we control the pelvis. Eyes forward, top of the mat. Inhale, lengthen. Bow in. Stretch tall, quads up. Release your arms. Inhale, up. Exhale, fold, forehead to shins. Lengthen. Step walk, fly back, lower. Spinal extension, look up. Glide back. So anchor through the palms, set the legs. We know this well. Let the breath move like a big, beautiful ocean wave. So the components of the rock and roll is a little bit of abdomen, sometimes some hip opening, and also neck mobility. Eyes forward, top of the mat. Inhale, lengthen. Bow. Stand tall, reach high, look up. Release the arms, last one, up. Fold in. Halfway lift. Step walk, fly back, chaturanga. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha. Exhale, Adho Mukha, slide back. Clear the abdomen, so even though this is not by any means a neck stretch, take your chin toward your chest and round the neck. And then release it so it's normal. Eyes forward, top of the mat. Inhale, lengthen. Fold in. Stand tall, arms high. Release your arms. Surya B, but a variation. Inhale, Utkatasana. And then pop the heels, lower your bum, Navasana, boat. So it's okay if the knees are bent, but what I want to know is what is the weight-bearing point of your bottom? You should be behind your sitting bones. So you're farther back than you might like. You're clearing out the digestive tract. Rock back up, Utkatasana. And exhale, fold. Lengthen. Step walk, pounce back, lower. Drag it up, eyes up. Slide it back. Right foot steps straight in, warrior one, up. Down, hands plant, clean, back to lower. Go up. Slide back. Left foot steps, warrior one, enter. Exit, hands plant, back to lower. Big Urdhva takes you up. Adho slides you back. So Chuck Berry was a huge influence on the rock and roll scene. Rock and roll was derived from gospel, from blues. They liken Ashtanga yoga to the rock and roll of yoga. Eyes forward, top of the mat. Inhale, lengthen. Fold in. Sit on your throne, strike a pose. Stand up, just like that. Bend the knees. Pop the heels, lower the bottom, boat pose, Navasana. So again, where is the placement? If you have a funny tailbone that's more like a tail, you might have some difficulty. And let's just do 3 V-snaps, no big deal. Let's go down, let's go up. Let's go down, let's go up. Last one. And then meet me in Utkatasana. Uttanasana, fold. Lengthen. Step walk, fly back, lower. Urdhva takes us up. Adho slides us back. Right foot in, warrior one, up. Down, step back, lower. Drag it up. Take it back. The left foot steps, enter, up. Exit, down, back, lower. Big up. Take it back. The right foot steps, warrior one. Chaturanga, hands plant, low push up. Strike up, go back. The left foot steps, warrior one, enter. Exit, hands down, step back and lower. Go up and back. Let's imagine we're at a rock and roll concert. We're full of sweat. We got other people's sweat on us. Big cleansing breath. Bring your feet together at the back of your mat. Drop down onto the knees. Sit back on your heels. Interlace your fingers behind your head. Tuck your chin to your chest. Stretch the back of the neck. So I find with those rock and roll shapes that sometimes when my neck isn't warm, it feels unsafe. So note the neck this morning. Give it a little bit more pressure, and as you do so, kick your head back into your hands. The traps could be tight. You might have a really long neck, so that's different. Sexy in a lot of cultures. Release the neck, downward dog, go back. Hollow your belly, eyes forward, top of your mat. Inhale, lengthen. Fold in. Sit on your throne, Utkatasana. Stand tall. Catch your waist, feet hip distance. Lift your heart. Fold, Padangustasana. Catch your big toes, look up. And exhale, fold. So the first posture we'll explore is very, very similar to this. So check the hamstrings, notice how you're feeling. And then how do we put this pose into the rock and roll shape? Inhale, lengthen. So this is what we find when we balance on our bum, this exact position. Bend your knees and slide your hands under your feet. Inhale to lengthen and exhale to fold. So we will look at this one on our bottoms and our grip will be different. We'll wrap all the way around our heels, but for now this is just a check-in. How are my legs, my breath? Inhale, lengthen, release the hands, Bakasana, crow. Tuck those knees nice and high. Really cute little tiny package. If you want to pop up to a handstand, do that. We'll stay for another 3. Protract the shoulders, 2. 1, fly back, lower. Ride your inhale, lift your heart. Go back. Meet me on your bottom. Navasana, so we're gonna take a hold of our toes and move into Urdhva, pashimotanasana, one of the rock and roll shapes. So the toes are linked together, the legs are straight. Now fire up the feet, so they're pointed but the toes are flexed. Drop your head back. So get familiar with this shape because we enter it by rocking into it. You can release your toes if you need, otherwise let's roll straight back into plow, toes down. And if you're pretty fluent with this pose, attempting to rock up with straight legs. Kick your heels back, rock up. Point your toes, the head is back. And then eyes forward, fold it in. So you might catch behind the calves, you might catch your ankles, some of you might catch your heels, wrap your elbows around your lower legs, and look at your toes. So you're still flointed, meaning the foot is pointed, the toes are flexed. Mula Bandha, lift the pelvic floor. Now releasing the heels, catch the edges of the feet if you feel safe, otherwise release the hands, rock back into plow. So we'll stay here. So the big toe joint, the top of it is pressing into the thumb, and then the hands wrap like you're holding a sandwich. And let's rock up. Kick your heels back, rock up. Catch the low legs wherever you are, fold in. Upaya Padangustasana, upward facing forward bend. 3, 2, 1. Let's rock forward to standing. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Stand tall, touch the roof. Release the arms. Take a step out with the right foot. Trikonasana, face the back. Hand to the shin, to the floor, to the toe. The alignment of the right foot is actually a floint. So your foot is pointed, so the calf muscle is awake, but the toes are flexed back toward your face. Eyes down, and inhale lifts you, opposite side, flip in, hinge. Floint the foot, so anchor through that big toe. This is the same as Urdhva Mukha Pashimotanasana. Eyes down, a big inhale picks us for twisted triangle facing the back. Square the hips. Take your left hand to the pinky toe edge, pivot and twist. So there was a question about standing revolved birds of paradise. So let's get a little warm through the spine so we could play with that. Eyes down, come all the way up, pivot forward, other side, reach, plant, land. I don't know if the visual works for you, but it's like a pepper grinder. The hips going one way, the chest the other. Eyes down, a big inhale lifts you, 5-pointed star, and steps you to the top. A bigger step out with the right foot, extended side angle with the bind. Take your right elbow to your knee or your hand inside your foot. If you wish to bind, bind. And if you're bound and you want to fly, look down. Step your left foot to meet the right. Pop up onto the tippy toes of the right and stand up, birds of paradise. So revolved birds of paradise, the tricky piece is the shoulder and the bind. And I'm going to offer it with a strap, but I want you to be so kind to your shoulders. If you're flying, step down, step back. Releasing the arms, come all the way up, opposite side, lunge. Take your left elbow to your knee, maybe inside the foot, maybe you bind. And if you're bound, so we're leaning against that left knee, you could step your right foot forward, pop up onto the left toes, and then stand up on the right leg, birds of paradise. Mula Bandha, so regardless of our shape, because we're preparing to rock and roll, it's all about the control at the seat of the pelvis. If you're flying, super gently step down and back. Untangle the bind, come all the way up to face the right leg. Drop the back. Lift your left arm up, hook it over. So let's attempt to catch the left wrist with our right hand. It's going to be a funny alignment of the shoulder. We're going to wiggle our hand close to our knee joint. And then maybe that right hand drops down the back to bind. Maybe you lift the knee off the earth. Some of you revolve birds of paradise, look down. Step your back foot to meet your front foot. Stand up on the tippy toes of that right foot and stand up on the left. Otherwise, you're in the twist. 3, 2, 1. If you're flying, untangle the bind for a moment as you step down, step back, and come all the way up, opposite side. Drop the back knee. Reach the right arm up, hook it over again, go nice and deep, and then catch your right wrist with your left hand and thread your hand toward your knee joint. Maybe your left hand tangles, maybe you lift your back knee up. If you want to play with standing revolved birds of paradise, look down. Step your back foot forward, anchor into the right foot, stand up. Kind in the shoulder. 3, 2, 1. If you're flying, untangle that bind for a moment. Step down, step back. And then everybody up, 5-pointed star. Top of the mat. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Step walk, pounce back, lower. Spinal extension up. Downward dog, back. Step your right foot forward for Prasarita A. Crawl yourself through center. Inhale to lengthen and exhale to fold. So the head is down and the sitting bones are wide. Our next rock and roll shape will be in this leg extension. Nice, Lori. We call it Upavishta, wide-legged forward bend. Inhale, lengthen straight into D. Catch your big toes, but stay upright. Take your sitting bones back, the arms are straight, the chin is forward, the eyes are about a foot up your wall. So we will be balancing on our bottoms just like this. Again, that same mudra in the hands, and then fold, Prasarita D, head down. Use the leverage of the hands going up, elbows going up for the head to go down. Inhale, lengthen. Pivot yourself to face your right leg and take a big step forward. And lower down onto the bottom, Navasana. I know, kind of awkward. Okay, grab a hold of your big toes, take your legs out wide, and feel the mudra, the connection of the big toe, beautiful, Lori, the big toe and the wrists. So you know this, we one day hyperextend and fall into it. We won't do that yet because we'll play with the rock and roll. If it feels safe, just go directly back and plant your toes. Catch around the edges of the feet for a moment, just so that you're anchored more into the feet. Then flip the grip and catch your big toes with yogi grip. Tap into the belly. Kick your heels back, rock up to balance on the bum. We're not going to hyperextend and fall yet. Release your toes, let the feet fall, Upavishta. So we'll do Upavishta first. Roll the thighs back, fold. So when this pose is done well, the top of the pubic bone is on the ground. So think about that. Could you flex your glutes so much that the pubic bone is down? 3, 2, 1. Inhale, rise up one more time. Lift the arms, lift the legs, catch the toes to balance. And then some of you might pick this up into a TT Basan to vinyasa, or just meet me in downward dog. So however you want to get there. And from downward dog, take a beat and ask yourself, do I prefer legs together or legs apart in those rock and rolls? Lift your left leg up. Step it between your hands, walk yourself through center, Prasarita D, but we'll do that halfway lift. So grip the toes, straight arms, look up. Flex your bum back. So you got like a cow bum, like you know cat-cow with the belly sagging. A big pregnant cow. And then fold forward, crown of the head to the floor, sitting bones up. We've done this before. So maneuver the belly button, pull it back like you're wearing a pair of Spanx. Remember when that was trendy? I think it still is. Inhale, lift the heart, coming into middle splits or frog pose. So just a couple moments to feel the inner groins. So flexibility obviously is going to help, but when we're doing our rocks and our rolls, it's a lot about the belly and the integrity there. Three more breaths. And then slowly rising out of this, pivot to face your left foot and take a big step forward with the left. Sorry, right. Drop your bottom, balance on the bum, Navasana. Catch your big toes again, take them wide, balance on the sacrum. You're on the back side of your tailbone on your sitting bone. So there's a rounding in the pelvis. Let's rock back, plow. Take a moment, set it up, connect with the belly. Then rock up, balance on the bottom. If it feels safe, hyperextend the knees, flex the feet, fall forward. Inhale, lengthen. Release the shape, vinyasa, feet back, lower. Drag it up, heart up. Strike back. Step walk, float to the top. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Reach up, look up, release your arms. Feet hip distance, half bound standing lotus or figure 4 on your left leg. Take the right leg up for half lotus or cross it in a 4 shape. You can reach your hand, catch your toe, and fold in. So the very first rock and roll that we see in primary series is done on a rotation. It's spun around 9 rolls. And eventually it's done in the shape of a lotus. So you might start to play half lotus, maybe switch it up and do the opposite half lotus, maybe cross-legged. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, rise up, release. Other side, so it's a figure 4, it's a half lotus, a sweep and a catch, and maybe a fold. So right now, where is the pelvis? No matter the shape that we're taking, we've got a cow lower back. And what I want is more of a cat, an angry cat, rounding their back. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, rise all the way up, release the shape, samastitihi. Take a moment. Stand up on the tippy toes, arms up. Drop your knees down, roll, roll, roll all the way back, toes touch, catch your toes, rock all the way up, balance on the bottom. Rock up to a squat, lengthen, bow, stand tall, reach high. Release the arms one more time, stretch up. Fold in. Inhale, lengthen. Drop the knees forward, lower the bottom, rock up, catch the toes. Rock all the way back. This time take the legs wide. Rock up to balance on the bottom. Hyperextend the legs, fall forward. Release the shape, vinyasa, feet back, ride your inhale, take it back, step walk, float through to a seat. No fancy business, but I used to know the bride when she used to rock and roll, so nothing fancy. All I want, catch the edges of your feet and balance on your bum. So when you're first learning this pose, you could just go back and forth, but that's not actually the rotation because we're actually going down one side, up the other. But for fun, let's just rock up and down 3 times, but I want almost a shoulder stand. Take an inhale. Exhale. Rock back, inhale. Exhale, up. Inhale, back, up, back, up. Release the legs, take a moment, let it settle. So check in with like how the neck felt there, how the back felt. For some of you, you have spines like a dinosaur, bony spines. So let's go rotational, and you might be comfortable with a half lotus. You might be comfortable with a full lotus, but bring your eyes toward me. So if you are doing a mathematic equation, and this is a pi, so I'm doing a full circle, for sure by the time I'm facing the back, I want to be on my 4th roll. So for me, I have a very flat low back. It means I have to rock crazy up into shoulder stand. Some of you won't need to rock so aggressively. So eyes toward me for a moment. So you catch and you stay. I actually hold my knees when I'm doing this. I'm gonna go down my left side. Down my left, up my right. Down my left, up my right. Down my left, up my right. And we'll do that full circle. So play with that and see what happens. Down the left, up the right. Down the left, up the right. Steer with your pelvis. 3, 2, 1. Rock all the way up. Let's pick it up. Kukutasana, eyes forward, legs up. Protract. 3, 2, 1. Release your bottom. Vinyasa. Take it back. Downward dog. Drop down onto the knees. Option 1, child's. Option 2, headstand to crow or headstand to lotus pickup. So you might tangle up those legs. You might take them into a butterfly or a lotus. Hollowing the belly back, tuck the knees, pick it up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Float back. Ride the inhale. Ride the exhale. Lift your right leg up. Step it through for splits or half splits, and then we're going to do each of those rock and roll poses one more time. So option half Hanuman, option full Hanuman. So the rock and roll poses, they're so interesting because they could really shake things up. People find them distracting, disorienting, they don't understand why. And I believe they're in there because they give us our first sensation of controlling something that is in motion. So that's kind of inertia. We're stopping motion. It's hard. That's why we see it in the first series, and then in the second, we're jumping into crow where we're stopping motion. Lunge into that front knee. A kundinasana vinyasa, thread the arm through, or just a down dog. Some of you might go straight chin stand. I'm taking it back and meeting me in down dog. Opposite side, the left foot sweeps and steps, half or full. And so we've looked at each one of those rock and roll poses, and now we'll put it into sequential order. For those of you that have done these poses a lot of times, try to enter them way more clean than you ever have. One single rock, and if it's a straight-legged position, try to keep those legs straight. Returning to a lunge, this could be a kundinasana vinyasa or a step back. Land. Drop down onto the knees one more time, toe squat or whatever they call it. Intertwine your fingers behind your head one more time, tuck your chin. So the first rock and roll we see is embryo. So remember, it's down the left, up the right, 9 times. This is a mathematical equation. If there were 9 slices of pie in that pie tray, how big would your rock need to be? Untangle, release the head, the hands, roll the neck back and forth. And then eyes through center, downward dog. All the way through to a seat. Half lotus, cross-legged or full padmasana. You're behind your sitting bones. So it should feel like you're gonna wipe out, like you're gonna lose control and fall backward. But you're gonna control it with the rectus abdominis. Okay, ready? 9 rocks. Down the left, up the right, 1 slice of pie. Down the left, up the right, 2, 3, 4 pieces of pie, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Pick it up, press down into the floor, eyes up, protract the shoulders. 3, 2, 1. Release. It's a vinyasa or a dandasana. All the way through to a seat. Number 2, Upavishta Konasana, legs wide. Catch the edges of the feet, fall forward. So you've done this twice before. What's it like now? Rise up, arms up, lift your legs, catch the edges of the feet. So this grip is different, but get familiar because when we rock up here next time, it's only one breath. The arms are straight, the head is back. So you could take a Tittibhasana vinyasa, or you could meet me on your back, however you want to get there. So the first rock and roll from plow, we hold for 5 breaths. On your back, Supta Konasana, legs wide. Catch your big toes. Wiggle your shoulders so they're wide. Take a look at your belly and ask your belly, like, I need you here. Are you with me? Are we a team? Today's music ain't got the same soul. Ready? Let's rock and roll. Heels back, rock up, balance. Hyperextend the knees, fall. Lighter than that. Beautiful. Vinyasa, dandasana, or lie on your back. So this is kind of helpful. In between rock and rolls, we do big toe pose. Let's do it. Lift your right leg up, catch your toe. Track your left thigh, fold in. So if you're ever wondering the sequence of primary series, this is the one that breaks up the rock and rolls. Release the neck and shoulder, take the leg out wide, eyes over your left shoulder. So there's valuable information here. You have the grip with the right leg and the right hand. And when we do our first rock and roll, that's the position of the leg and the hand. So if your leg is able to be straight here and your arm is straight, you know you can enter it straight. Eyes through center, leg through center, bow. Release the neck and shoulder, opposite side, catch your toe, fold. So tell me, really tell me, is it a tug of war between your toe and your fingers? Because if not, your attention needs to be in that mudra. Also, how is that right hand touching your big, beautiful right thigh? Release the neck and shoulder, take the leg out wide, eyes out wide. Feel the connection, foot to hand. Bring the eyes through center, bring the knee through center, bow. Release the neck and shoulder, release the leg, we'll go straight into Urdhva Mukha Pashimotanasana. So remember, this is halfway lift when you've got the big toes for the very first pose of primary series. Reach your toes overhead, immediately catch your big toes, kick your heels back, rock up, balance on the bottom, float your foot, so point your foot and flex your big toe into the grip of the peace fingers. Belly back, upward dog in the chest. Where are you looking? Can you see what you're looking at? 2, 1, release the shape. It's a vinyasa or a dandasana to lie on your back for the last rock and roll. This one's deeper. Feet overhead. Catch a hold of the edges of the feet. Kick your heels back. Rock up. catch behind the knees, behind the calves, behind the heels, fold in. Upaya Padangustasana. Pubic bone up toward the ceiling. Roll your tailbone down like an angry cat and then balance. 2. 1. Inhale, lengthen. Release the shape. It's a vinyasa or on your back. Three back bends. And then we're going to play with stopping momentum like we do in second. Little bridge, full wheel, go up. And your body might say, oh hell no, sister, we just did a bunch of forward bends. I don't feel like I want to. And just breathe, invite some movement. 3. You can't always get what you want, you know? Come down. My son's babysitter always says, you get what you get and you don't get upset. So, second back bend. You get what you get, all the way up. Nice, beautiful front line. 3, 2, 1. Down for a rest for a moment. Last one, up. Go. You're looking for God. He, she, they are in your spine. Crawl it in. 4. Chest over the wrist. 3, 2, 1, and come down. Tuck your knees to your belly. Give yourself a hug. Cross your ankles. 3 rock and rolls. Remember the bride? Rock back, rock up. 2, back and up. 3. Extend your legs out in front. Take a forward bend. Now for some of you, you might play with crow. You might take a reclined twist. But the rock and roll poses are actually prepping you to catch your crow. So I'll demo. You take your forward bend and let your spine fall. So all that rocking and rolling and then catching it, it's almost like trying to stop a wave. But we can, and the way we do that is with our eyes. It's with our hands. It's with knowing what we're trying to create. So I'm in downward facing dog and I already have crow in my mind's eye. I also have a good fight where I'm like, I'm gonna do my best to catch this. So we walk it in. The eyes come forward. The ticket is that my head is gonna almost touch the ground, but I'm gonna grip with my finger pads and not let it. Catch my crow. So for some of you, you'll tap your knees, pop back like little trampolines, and some of you might catch your crow. Ready? Go. Crow or catch your crow. It's better than catching an STI. I wouldn't know, Mom. I haven't had one. Catch your crow. Nice, Jules. Come on, catch it. Come on, kitty cat, you're there. Just catch it, catch it. Beautiful. Catch it. Lex, even go straight handstand to crow. Couple more moments, Jules, that's it. Nice, Rach. 2, 1. I want to watch Lexi. Yes, nicely done. Drop down onto the knees. Child's pose, take a moment. We'll close with a headstand, but you could take shoulder stand if you prefer. Take your elbow bones very close together. If you tend to kick up like a wild donkey, an ass, try to lift your legs in unison. Head down. Walk your feet in and rise like a fairy spreading their wings and flying. Try to slow it down. So even here, but this is more usual, right? Like you do this more frequently, so it seems more natural, but you're also trying to stop momentum. The momentum of falling, the momentum of rolling. Beautiful, Jules. Nice, Rach. You're looking good. Let's stay up there for 5 more breaths. And take a pike, fold at the waist, point the toes, bum goes back. 4. Rach, that's like right there for you. Do it one more time. You're so close. Try to get your bum farther back behind you. Oh, cat, so pretty. Beautiful legs all the way back up. Go. Find perfect alignment. Nice, Deb. And then come all the way down to sit back for Balasana, child's pose. Rest your head. Let it settle. For the poses that feel kind of scattered and wild, it's interesting because there is a place to learn. So when you feel wild, scattered, uncertain, that's an entry point of that you're interested. And then when you're ready, slide forward onto your tummy and roll over onto your back for child's pose. Shavasana. With that, Shavasana could also be sleeping child. Drape your shoulders under your back to cradle your heart. Big inhale. So there might be a different kind of residue, a different kind of energy rolling through you, no pun intended. So rock and roll was invented or established in the 50s, and it was about individuation. It was about personal style. We started to break away from the mold of norm and mainstream. Ashtanga yoga, very similar. It's about becoming your own self. No longer a sheep. Take a deep inhale. One more. Move your fingers, move your toes. And stretch your arms long overhead, big full body stretch. Tuck your knees to your belly to roll to the right. And rise to a seat. And bring your hands to your heart. And I say this a lot, but I always mean it, for so much respect for anything that you're currently going through or have gone through, and all the good stuff, bad stuff yet to come. Bow and say thank you. If it touches your heart, good, bad, ugly, it means you lived. Lifting our eyes to each other. Namaste.